Good evening, ballers. Welcome to the 23rd episode of the Stepback. It's your host, Leon Tompkins, my main man, Jacob Moses, and we welcome in this evening. You may remember him from last night, host of the Audible Order in Football Live, pulling double duty this week. Our good friend, Randy Hammond. How you doing, bro?
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing well, man. It's a little past my bedtime. I got to work in about 6 hours or so, but I'm up here talking ball with you guys, and I regret nothing. So let's do this.
Iron Man right now, so I'm talking about.
Hey, how you doing, Jacob? How you feeling?
I'm doing well, man. Just living life, working, parenting, normal life shit.
Man, I'm telling you. We're getting into the nitty gritty of the NBA season. About to push towards the playoffs, and we got an exciting race for the 8th and 9th spots. We got some drama with Lillard. We got some drama with Paul George, and trying to figure out this 8th and 9th spot combination is difficult. That's why we got our good friend Randy, who's familiar with the 16th and 17th weeks in the NFL to get these combos down. Portland picked up a win last night, securing the 8th spot. Memphis picked up dropping Memphis to the 9th spot. Phoenix is red hot. They're in the 10th spot. And San Antonio in 11. All 4 teams play tomorrow. We're going to get into how each one plays out in the different scenarios a little bit later on. But, my man Dame Lillard, 50, 61 last night going off. What's your guys' thoughts on Lillard just taking over these games?
God damn it, you know what time it is. How many times I got to tell you, man? It's just that guy. That's right, Randy. No, it's been crazy watching him. I mean, just you can't stop him. You only can hope to contain him. And I'm telling you, that shit they were talking, I think he really took that to heart what PG and Pat Bev were saying. He was like, okay. And then you posted in the group, you read his lips. Put some respect on my name, man. It's not a game. This is great.
I love a guy with a chip on his shoulder like that too. I mean, he was only a 3-star recruit in college, went to Weber State, was barely a lottery pick. A lot of guys thought he was too small, wasn't good enough for the league too. So I'm just glad to see this dude killing it. I think he's now finally getting the respect that he deserves as a top 3 point guard and, all-star, one of the best players in the league. It's about time because he's been playing like that for the last few years. And my favorite part about him is that he's a killer. He is clutch and he wants to just rip your heart out. To me, that is why I love basketball. That's why I love sports. When you're clutch and you can make plays, you're not afraid of the moment. Lillard himself, he screwed up with those free throws, but he said, you know what, you got me once, I'm not going to let you get me again. And I just want to talk about that for 1 second here with Paul George and Pat Beverly talking. Look, Pat Bev, that's your game. I totally understand that. Your whole game is yapping and talking while you're playing D. What the hell has Paul George ever done to warrant some shit talk like that to another guy who has eliminated him from the playoffs before and has outplayed him almost every single time they played before? Pat Bev? All right, I don't like Pat Bev, but that's his game at least. Paul George, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, oh, my God. And then, let's talk about the chip on the shoulder. That reminds me of somebody, that guy on the left right there, at 24. He always played with a chip on his shoulder. But another thing is, another thing with PG, you can't talk shit and then you go on his social media and apologize. You get no points for that there, buddy.
None.
Man, I can't. PG just kind of lost him a little bit of credit for that one, man. You don't apologize after talking shit. Just no.
Nope, not at all. Leon, what did you think about that, man? Because, I mean, you're a fan of the Eastern Conference. How often do you get to watch Portland? And is this something that's waking you up to how great Damian Lillard actually is?
Okay, so I knew Lillard was good way back when, but you look at the game winners he's pulled off in the playoffs, but it seems like, and he mentioned it before coming into the bubble, he wanted a shot. Otherwise, he wasn't going to show up, and he's showing you why he wants this shot. You take those free throws aside from the other night, this guy comes in clutch with, and now he has some help. this time around. Nurkic and CJ and, you know, your man Gary Trent.
Yes, sir.
And Melo, Money Melo here. He's pulling off clutch shots, playing rejuvenated. And we said this way back when, if Portland gets that 8th spot, look out. And they're playing Brooklyn tomorrow. So it's a pretty good shot for them to hold on to that 8th spot. And we'll go over a little bit on how we'll be able to get it. But I'm a huge fan of Lillard. Huge fan.
I don't know how you can't be, right? I think that, you know, watching him play and just his confidence and his ability to take over games late, I always respect the guy who's not afraid of the moment. You're never going to succeed every single time, but at least you attack that and not be afraid of that moment every single time. You have that kind of respect from me. So I just wanted to say, I think I owe Carmelo Anthony an apology. I'm not going to speak for the entire internet, but I think a lot of the internet owes Carmelo Anthony an apology because I thought that guy was washed. I wanted nothing to do with him on my team, which I kind of wish my team had him over some of the options they have now. But credit to Carmelo Anthony for coming in and being the vet scorer that this team needed for sure, because you have a young backcourt, not really that young anymore in CJ and Dame, but now they have that third piece who can fill it up and get buckets when one of those guys is out of the game. So shout out to Carmelo Anthony. What is he, top 15 all time in the scoring list now? I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer, whether people want to admit that or not, but put some respect on Melo's name now.
Right.
For sure. And, you know, just to remember how good Dame is, I'll share my screen here. And here we got PG just keeps on talking.
Yeah.
About to pull up from
I
37 feet. Boom.
Dagger.
The wave by just does it all for me.
Yeah, the wave is the best part. And then the face while he's getting mobbed.
That started out in the movie. You want to know how I got here? This is how it started.
You're probably wondering how I got here. The wave. See ya. Love that.
That was great. Oh, man. I jumped out of bed for that. I'm going, what?
Yeah, that was the best.
It was a bad shot.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Was that Shaq who said that? Who said that?
PG. He was like, it was a bad shot.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Steph Curry takes so many bad shots, but is it a bad shot when you're making them? It's
exactly. No, not at all.
You know, yeah, that was Paul George. Here come Mr. Beverly, because I love how it comes off this curl.
Love that.
Boom, that's it.
Bang. Was that that was the Rockets, right?
Yep.
What year was that? Was that 2016?
15, I believe.
15?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aldridge still definitely 2015.
Yeah.
He came up just clapping. He's give me that.
I mean, speaking of Aldridge, that guy can't catch a break.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You know, because he goes down with an injury, and look at the Spurs. They take off like, you know, there's no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Young squad coming up, man.
Yeah. Yep. Going into the 9th spot, the Memphis Grizzlies, they had a huge hold on that on that 8th spot, and then Jaren Jackson went down, and that pretty much sealed them in.
Mm-hmm. They're forgetting how to play basketball. I don't know what happened. They completely just – Ja Morant can't do it all. He can only do so much. You know, you need Brooks. You need Brandon Clark. You need, you know, Alciunas. You need somebody to step up. Or you guys are just going to – they're lucky that they're still in it right now because of where they were. They had that little inch to slack off a little bit, but now they got to do something. They got to pull a win now.
I think if you're the Grizz, though, you kind of look at this year as a positive regardless, right? I don't think any of us really saw them in this position to make the playoffs. Obviously, they had the 2nd overall pick last year, but I didn't look at the Grizzlies as a team that pose any threat to anyone, especially in the Western Conference, because it's so deep and it's so so filled with talent from top to bottom that I thought the Grizzlies are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And it's a credit to John Morant and a lot of those other younger players for getting better around him, which I think he has a lot to do with personally. But I would not look at this season as unsuccessful if I was a Grizzlies fan. I'd be excited for the future, just understand that, you know, you need some veteran pieces, maybe a big man, maybe a wing defender here, and like a veteran that can help you out. But, you know, if Memphis doesn't make the playoffs, I'm not going to cry wolf if I'm a Grizzlies fan.
Yeah, Memphis has a nice core going. They can attract some free agents if necessary, but this is an excellent building block for them, knowing that they're ahead of schedule and John Morant is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think they face off against the Bucks tomorrow, minus Giannis. I don't think he was going to play anyway, but, you know, serving as suspension for a headbutt.
I would have headbutted him too. Wiseman does look like a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think I would have done the same thing. Hell out of my face.
One game though.
If this was regular season, it would have been like 5 at least.
If the NBA had any balls, they'd suspend him for the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
they won't ever. He's the MVP of the league, so they won't do that. But you know, the intent was there enough for that he deserved more than a game.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah,
absolutely. In the 10th spot, probably the hottest team on the planet, the Phoenix Suns.
Pun intended.
Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton is knocking out the competition. Use one of Randy's phrases, running the table. 7-0. Where these guys come from?
Man, Devin Booker was the truth. Tell you, my favorite shooter in the league, man. And everybody's stepping up. It's amazing. I mean, I think I even saw a Cameron Johnson sighting. I haven't seen him since UNC. What's going on?
Bro, Cameron Payne, you know, never did anything except dance with Russell Westbrook on the Thunder. Like, what? I have no idea what's going on with the Suns here, but it all comes back down to Devin Booker, who is blossoming into a superstar in front of our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finally playing in some meaningful games, and he had a game winner over Paul George again. This guy just can't catch a break. But you know, Phoenix coming in the season, they were hot. Then DeAndre Ayton missed 25 games, and that kind of derailed them a bit. But going back to the coaching, Monty Williams coming in, creating a culture, and look at these Suns. They get in that 8-9 game, they can make some noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a Lakers fan, they're just not a team that I'm all that interested in seeing, because the Lakers' issue now is they don't have a guy who can defend a Damian Lillard or a Devin Booker. So if I could avoid the Blazers or the Suns, that'd be ideal. I don't see that scenario likely that they're going to play one of those teams. But Booker right now is just so lights out. He's playing on such another level that I'm happy that he's finally getting to this point, because I know when he was in Kentucky, he was very highly touted as a guy who would be a superstar in the NBA. He's had some high-scoring outcomes already in the league. But I feel like now he's finally starting to put it together. And like you said, Monty Williams is probably a big part of that.
Yeah, and tomorrow they play the Dallas Mavericks.
Him and Luka, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I expect Dallas to put forth an effort to try to knock them out.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest surprise of them all in the 11th spot is the San Antonio Spurs. I had them dead to rights. DeMar DeRozan really coming up big here. For much of the flack he caught in Toronto for not being clutch, he's carried the team on his back along with Lonnie Walker and really gave them a shot to steal a playoff spot. What's your guys' thoughts on the Spurs?
I watched a little bit of the Spurs, and DeMar DeRozan is kind of a guy who is super underrated at this point. I don't think he ever really gets the credit for being, you know, a really good two guard in the league. I heard a comparison. I think it was on the Bill Simmons podcast where they kind of compared him to the Alex Smith of the NBA, where he's always really solid and kind of average, but he'll never really be worse than that. He's always consistent, and he just doesn't wow you. But I actually think that he's put on some weight, and I don't mean that in a bad thing. It looks like he's bulked up a little bit. He's always a really skinny, kind of lengthy guy who didn't have much on him. It looks like he's kind of put on some muscle, and I think that's made a big difference. His mid-range game has always been there. He's not the greatest outside shooter, but I think the Spurs have a lot to do with that. I think the culture of Pop and just being around that organization makes you mature, makes you grow up, makes you work a little bit harder. So, maybe we should have seen this sort of thing coming. And to be honest with you, I'm not totally shocked that the Spurs are here, although they did look so bad coming into the bubble. But if I could choose any of these teams to play in the first round as a Lakers fan, I want the Spurs. Just because they don't pose the outside threat that the other teams do. So if the Spurs want to sneak into that 8th spot, I'm all for it.
Yeah, the Spurs are pretty young, but it's pretty cool to see guys like Keldon Johnson get a chance to actually ball out. He had a nice little game. I think he scored like 24, 25 in the game. Lonnie Walker, he has a high upside, but you don't know what you're going to get out of him. Like you said, Leon Aldridge going down, that's going to be tough. But, these guys are playing, man. They have a chance, as good a chance as everybody else. And it's really cool to see, especially with the, Murray and White, the two guys that you want to see actually take that step, because guard play is so important in the league. You want to see that. And I give props to that team. They know. Just win is win, man. That's what the Spurs are about. Might not be championship caliber, but, hey, getting to the playoffs is just as important.
Yeah, Pop with that playoff pedigree, he's going to drag his team to the end. And, credit to him and his staff coming into the bubble, getting these guys ready. And DeMar DeRozan, the mid-range king, he can get to that spot on the floor, and he's about 80% from there. He's going to knock it down every time. And the Spurs face the Jazz tomorrow. So here's where we get into where the 8-9 kind of play in. The advantage of having a number 8 seed for the play-in game, you only need to win 1 to move on. You seed at number 9, you have to win 2 games. So that's different time. Portland currently in the 8th spot. Play off against Brooklyn tomorrow. For them to stay in the 8th spot, they have to win or have Memphis, Phoenix, and San Antonio lose. They get the 9th spot if they lose and any of those 2 teams lose. Then Portland secures the 9th spot. Portland is out if they lose and any of those 2 teams win. Memphis Grizzlies currently in the 9th spot, face off against the Milwaukee Bucks. They move up into the 8th spot if they win and Portland loses. They stay 9 if they win and Portland wins. Or if Memphis loses and or Phoenix and San Antonio lose. And the Grizzlies are out if they lose and Phoenix and San Antonio win. You see, Randy, this is why we need your Week 17,
it makes sense to me. Ultimately, the Portland controls their own destiny here. All they have to do is beat your Nets, Leon. It doesn't seem like that's going to be that hard of a thing to do. Although the no-name Nets doing all right over there in the bubble, but I think Portland, all they got to do is take care of business tomorrow, and all this dilemma and what could possibly happen is all for naught. So I'm not going to try to make this more confusing than it actually is. Portland's going to win tomorrow, and they're going to be the 8th seed.
I'm real intrigued to see if Phoenix can sneak in. Phoenix can get to the 8th spot if they win and Portland and Memphis loses. They get the 9th seed.
They have to lose out, right? And
yeah.
So they have to lose out, and Phoenix has to win out?
Yeah, pretty much.
So Phoenix would have to go 10-0 in the bubble. For this. That would be crazy.
Phoenix at the 9th spot if they win and Portland or Memphis loses. So either one can lose and they win, they get the 9th spot. And they're out with a loss. And San Antonio with the hardest road they get the 8th spot with a win, and everybody loses out. 9th spot with a win and a loss by any of those other 2 teams, and they're eliminated if they lose. My gut feeling is that it's Portland and Phoenix, 8-9, unless, like you say, Brooklyn shows up and shocks the world. I mean, they beat Milwaukee. I mean, they beat the Clippers. You never know.
You can't, it's not a given, man. That's a plan. Even though they're in, you just never know. But I think they sit most of their guys that, well, it wouldn't matter because they all bench plays for the most part anyway. But I'm just saying, when you look at that, you're like, really? Really?
Yeah. But I think Portland kind of wraps this up tomorrow, and then we have a clearer picture of what the playoffs in the West and actually the East, for the most part, look like. I would love for Phoenix to go 10-0 and make that run. That'd be a great story. It just feels unlikely, but there's a great saying in sports, and that's why you play the game. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, man. The play-in game, I believe, is on Saturday.
Yep.
And if it needs a second game, it's the next day on Sunday.
Okay.
So that'll be pretty nice. Now you kind of touched on it before. As a Laker fan, who would you like to see in the 8th spot? I guess in ranking order.
All right, so I'll pull up the current standings, which personally I think that the order in which they are, I would flip that and probably go with that. I would love to have the Spurs for obvious reasons. You know what? I'm not actually going to do that. I think I would rather have Memphis over Phoenix, just because they're so young, and they might win a game or two, but I think they really lack that experience that you really need in the playoffs. So, and then I'd go Phoenix, and then the team I don't want to play the most is the team currently in the 8th spot, which is Portland. Portland has the most firepower, has the best team in general, has the best backcourt. It's the worst matchup for the Lakers. The Lakers are going to struggle with teams with great backcourts and great guard play, and with high scoring abilities. So if I could avoid Portland, I would prefer to do that because the Lakers don't have a great backcourt, don't have great guard play at the moment. So unfortunately, it's going to work out. We're going to get Portland. They're probably going to go 7 games, and it's going to make me sweat. I could really see the Lakers losing that series, but I'm hoping that they can still pull it out regardless.
But about Portland, the thing about that is CJ McCollum is playing hurt. So it's something going on with his back. So that's what kind of scares me about what their run. You want to see it happen, but CJ, they need something out of him, man. The way he's playing, he comes off his curl, it's not right. You can tell. Like, he's a big come off a screen kind of guy, and just getting that elevation on your shot is just not there right now. And Dame's going to have to carry a lot of the load as what he's doing now. And even though they might, pose a test to the Lakers, they might prove to be too strong for them because, again, guard play is everything.
I would rather have an injured CJ on the floor if I'm a Portland fan than have Mario Hezonja anywhere getting playing time because he might be the worst player of basketball.
And he blocked LeBron.
I was there when he dunked on Giannis too. By the way, I was at MSG when he dunked on Giannis last year.
I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there going, now he think he's the man now, huh? He blocked LeBron.
He did the Allen Iverson step over after that and everything. He thought he was the coolest guy ever after that.
Man, he was the man. Him and his 5 points a game.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where a vet like Melo and a strong game from Gary Trent Jr., who's really been coming on in this bubble, can really make a difference. I like Phoenix taking out the Lakers only because Booker is such a threat, and I think they're a much deeper team than people give them credit for. Saric and Kaminsky really came on as of late, but the Lakers looked a little sketchy lately. Kuzma bailed him out the other night.
Great play. That was a great play call.
Oh, for sure.
It It was a
which begs,
well-executed play. Are you denying that?
it was.
It was shocking, though. You just like.
And Kuzma really went off in that game, which begs the question, would you put him in the starting lineup?
Well, I don't know if I'd put him in the starting lineup, but regardless, he's going to be in the lineup that closes the game.
Yeah.
He's played really well in the bubble. I think he has value coming off the bench because you need a second unit that poses some kind of threat. You can't just have all your best players be playing all the time. You see this with, six man of the years is so valuable because you have a guy like Lou Williams who can come off the bench, give you 20 points. But he's often on the court when the game is ending. So Kuzma, for me, if he doesn't start, not the end of the world to me. I think that the Lakers' big lineup is something that they want to get into the flow of things when they start the game. So you'll have the LeBron, Danny Green, Anthony Davis, and then JaVale McGee with, I don't know who the fifth guy is. They've kind of explored. That's where it gets troubling because you could totally say Kuzma should start, but regardless, that's sort of five, whether it's Dwight Howard or it's McGee at the five at the end of the game with Kuzma. That is the five with LeBron kind of playing that point role. They've kind of experimented with Quinn Cook a little bit. I don't love that as much, but he's going to get a lot of playing time regardless. I don't love the J.R. Smith or Deion Waiters experiments. It's going to backfire in the long run. Let them go and shoot as much as they want right now because it ultimately doesn't matter. They already have the 1 seed, but I don't love that down the stretch personally. They really missed Rajon Rondo, and they really miss what's his face? Avery Bradley. Yeah, they missed that backcourt defense. Those guys were good. Rondo's not the best offensive player, but Bradley was a good spot-up shooter. I talked about all season how they needed better shooting, and thankfully Kuzma stepped up because they really need to improve that outside shooting in the worst way. Marcus Morris going to play a lot as well. So Marcus Morris might be the guy who starts the game, but I don't know if he's the guy at the end of the game who plays unless like LeBron's in foul trouble or McGee or all the big guys are. So they don't have a great small lineup to go with, so maybe Marcus Morris is part of that. But Kuzma definitely going to be a guy who closes the game for them, or at least on the court to close the game for them.
Yeah, and they paid dividends the other night.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. He's playing well, and it's about time.
I'd just like to say, don't diss Quinn Cook again, ever. Don't cut that part out. No, but yeah, I can. And plus LeBron kind of, it looked like he was pulling up lame a little bit when he, like towards the end of the game, it looked like he was pulling with a little limp. But let's see what happens.
He's getting old at the end of the day here. I don't think we realize that he's been in the league for 17 years. The style of basketball that he's played for a long time is eventually going to wear him down.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think you're starting to see that. His season as a whole has been a great success, and he's played really well. But now when the season's going into August like this, I think that sort of thing should be expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It testament to him, and, we'll see where the Lakers really end up and see if the fact that there's no travel, they might be able to get some fresher legs, really rest their guys now coming into the next week, in which next week the playoffs do start. The Western Conference is kind of muddled. The Eastern Conference is set. We already touched on the Lakers and the possible AFC contenders. Take one deeper look into the Western Conference, which would be the potential matchup of the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. This one kind of intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
Luka's first playoff series. KP finally in a meaningful series, but the Clippers are deep and hella good defensively. Where do you guys see the Clippers and Mavs ending up?
I think it's going to go – I'll give the Mavs 5 because Pat Bev is going to be in Luka's ass. We all know that. Let's be real. That's going to be a great test for Luka. That's going to really, just see if he's going to elevate his game even more or he's going to shrink. And with KP, love the guy, but he's soft. And you cannot be soft in the playoffs. I swear, a few games, he's getting horsed around by P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker is a big body. But KP, you are 7'5". foot, dude. Like, use your length. Like, he does not. I don't understand how he can't use his length at all. Like, he got to get down. You got to, and plus the Clippers are kind of like they're not small, but whoever's going to be on him is going to be smaller. So you got to learn how to back him down, do a little fadeaway or something, but he's going to have to come with it. And with those two guys, and then now you got to hope for maybe Powell to come up. If Seth Curry's there, you got to see if he comes up. They got, what's his name? What's the dude's name? Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. What are you going to get out of him? Like, maybe a few defensive plays. He can't score. I mean, him and scoring is like freaking oil and vinegar. They don't go together at all. And, yeah, that's going to be a good I want to say 6, but I'm going to go 5 with my heart. I don't think Dallas does anything yet. They're too young, and the experience is just going to hurt.
See, I hate Pat Bev. I am not a Pat Beverly guy. I think he's a fraud. I think he's the Josh Norman of the NBA. Where Josh Norman always talked all this shit as a corner and got cooked by every great receiver in the league. And at the end of the day, Pat Bev is annoying as a defender, and I give him credit for that. But if you're an elite offensive player and you have a good mental capacity, you can kind of overcome him. I think Luka's going to completely dominate Pat Bev, to be honest with you. I don't think he's going to pose much of a threat at all. And despite Pat Bev's desire to be in everyone's head at all times, you saw him try to get that with KD, which I don't know why they even put him on KD to begin with when that series happened last year. But, at least Luka's going to be the primary ball handler for the Mavs, so it makes more sense. I'm going to give him 6 games here. I really like the Luka Porzingis combination. They're really starting to play well together. And I know Harrell is back and Lou Williams is back for the Clippers. And I think they will prove to be too much for the Mavs, but I think the Mavs are going to give them a run for their money.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, the Mavs gave the Rockets a run till they blew it, and they gave the Blazers a run last night until Lillard went off. So I agree with you. The Mavs will give you some trouble. You look at guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., perfect role player, knock down a 3, space the floor. But the Clippers, I think, are way too deep. If they get anything out of Marcus Morris, it's a benefit because he has done like next to nothing. And Reggie Jackson, if he can find, his Bobby Shmurda look and just score a bit off the bench, he can give you something.
I actually think if Dallas could get a team like Houston, I like their chances more because Houston's soft and they're not as big bodied. I think the Clippers are a tough team because they are big and they rebound really well, and they have a few their defensively. I don't know if there's a better team defensively than the Clippers in the playoffs, but Houston is not like that. So Dallas, I think, really got a bad draw here. But I would love their chances against almost any other team in the West, but I think the Clippers are just too tough for most teams.
Yeah, I give the Clippers in 6. Kawhi, and hopefully Paul George can, silence some of his critics.
And the one thing that might kill him is their chemistry. They really, I think Kawhi, Harrell, PG, and Beverly, they only played really, I forgot the number that I saw. It's not a lot of minutes together. So they got to get it together quickly. And chemistry is everything when you obviously play in the playoffs. You throw something together, it might not always work. So you might get snuck up on, and you never know what happens.
And they play Landry. They play Shaman a lot at the end of games. Yes. I don't really understand that, but I guess it's for defensive purposes, right?
He can shoot really well.
He can shoot really well too. I don't know. I was surprised about that, but I guess Morris hasn't played too well. I would have probably gone with him instead, but I was surprised to see how much they play Shaman, especially late in games.
Sure. Shout out to the Knicks for getting that late round pick for him.
In the next matchup, we have the Denver Nuggets against what's possibly, but the 5 or 6 seed has not been determined yet. So it's between the Jazz and the Thunder. Right now, I believe it's the Thunder.
Well, in the matchups on ESPN.com right now, it has Denver and Utah as the 3 seed.
Yeah, Utah? Okay. Okay, then they must have updated after the game. All right, so what you guys have on Denver, Utah?
Denver, Utah is going to be interesting because Utah's defense, Rudy, the one that started it all. they're gonna play them hard, but I think Denver's they're too strong. They're way overpowered for them. It's not. What are you gonna do with Joker? What are you gonna do with Bobo now? I mean, they got so many ways they can just dismantle you. You know, Michael Porter Jr., Monte Morris off the bench. You know, you got Jeremy Grant there. You got Plumlee. You got your toughness there. They got shooters. You got Jamal Murray, Gary Harris. Denver has always been one of those teams that I love to watch because they are so good, but it's taking that next step in the playoffs, and this might be the year. You talk about complete team. I don't think the Jazz have a chance. I really don't think they have a chance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I love what Utah's doing. I love the way Porter's been playing, and it seems like he's actually healthy. And before his injury, he was regarded as a number one pick potential. So I think he's really showing his talent in the bubble. And when I was younger, me and my friends used to love Manute Bol. Like, we used to try to recreate Manute Bol all the time in video games, and we used to try to, every time we'd block each other in a shot, we would yell Manute Bol. Like, it was the dumbest thing, but we love Manute Bol. So you can imagine how excited we are that Bol now exists. So I'm just about as big of a Bol fan as there is. So I love that he is more skilled offensively than I honestly thought. Like, he has touch. Yeah. He has a nice stroke. Obviously, he's long as shit, and he's really good defensively. So I love Denver. I would not be surprised to see Denver in the Western Conference Finals. Everything that you said, they are so deep from top to bottom. They have a great bench as well. Utah, all right. Donovan Mitchell, Gobert, all right.
Yes.
I don't forgive Rudy for kind of starting the whole shutdown thing to begin with. So Utah, honestly, I think Denver wins in 5.
Yeah, I think the loss of Bogdanovich for Utah was huge. He really spaced the floor, and with Conley there, he was supposed to be Rubio's replacement for the offensive output that Rubio didn't give to Utah, but it doesn't seem like a great fit there. I think Utah's way too offensively challenged. Denver's way too deep, and Michael Porter's coming in this bubble just showing his potential. And I mean, Utah might sneak a game in here because Denver might just be up 3-0 and lay down for a game, but I see Denver in 5. And one of the more intriguing matchups left.
This is the series right here. This is the series.
Houston Rockets and CP3's Thunder facing off.
This is where I'm missing. This is where I'm sorry, Leon. I just want to say this is where I'm missing the old school way of life where we had people traveling to stadiums with fans, because Russell Westbrook playing in Oklahoma City for the Rockets. You have CP3 going to Houston playing for the Rockets, and then you have Harden, who it's been 8 years now, but did play for the Thunder as well. So there's a lot of crossover between these teams. I would love to see the fan interaction between these games.
I mean, that video board is going to be jumping. And apparently, maybe I think later on, they're going to be able to have some guests. Well, we'll touch a bit on that later, but the Rockets and the Thunder are real intriguing. Their 5-out has really come to fruition more in the bubble. Harden's been showing out, Danny House, Covington. But Chris Paul has led this Thunder team to, quite frankly, I don't know how the hell they got here. It's one of his best one of his best seasons of his career. Although I think the Rockets take it in 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. CP3 is, like I said, if it's anybody you need to put respect on his name, it's CP3, because what he's done leadership-wise with this team, with pretty much, you have Gallinari, he's still playing well. Yogesh Alexander, he's taking him under his wing, and look how he's playing now. You got Steven Adams, he's battle-tested. You have, who else they have on that team? Oh, my God. Yeah, you're right. How the hell did they do that? I can't. I don't know that roster. And I'm used to good on those, but I can't.
Well, did you say Schroeder? I mean, Schroeder's played really well for them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Schroeder, he's a good 6-man candidate right there. But yeah, the Rockets might be. Well, it depends on Westbrook's step right there. It's going to depend on him because if you take one of them out of the equation, they're going to be in trouble. And Harden, watching the game today against Indiana, which they lost, he needs to start trusting his teammates because just some of the plays he did. Yeah, you can drop 45, but as you can see, you play a little bit more even team. A team that plays more together, they can beat them. It was close, they still beat them.
That's why I don't trust the Rockets, whether this is a normal season or not. I think you've seen time and time and again, Russell Westbrook and James Harden led teams get bounced probably earlier than they should have is because they don't play winning basketball. I know that James Harden is insanely talented, and so is Russell Westbrook, and I love how hard they both play, but they don't play the way that a team that wins championships play. For me, I think Oklahoma City is the complete opposite of that. They play like a real team, and it is such a credit to Chris Paul and Billy Donovan for making this work with a lot of guys that you wouldn't consider to be great players, a lot of guys that you consider just role players. My guy Danilo, like you said, still in the league, still killing it. I love SGA. I love Schroeder. Schroeder's had a great year, 6-man candidate, almost averages 20 points a game. Steven Adams is a great anchor to have underneath the basket. And I might be on my own here, but I think the Thunder win the series, and I think the series goes 7.
I can see that.
I do not. If Russell's not playing, especially, I think that the Rockets are really gonna miss him. And I don't trust James Harden. Until they prove to me otherwise, I will never trust the Rockets, and I will always pick against them regardless. So I'm going OKC here at 7.
Big.
Yeah, man, you're on your own island over there, man.
That's big. No, that's big. It can happen. We've seen, Golden State. We've seen upsets happen. So it's what do they call themselves? I can't remember. Oh my God, what was the nickname for that team when they beat Dallas?
We Believe Warriors.
Yep, there you go, right there. You just never know because all it takes is a team to get hot, man. Even in baseball, don't shake your damn head. Because who would have thought the Nets like the Nets? Who would have thought? But I think the Rockets taking them 6. But
I'm not saying they're going to make a run at the finals, but I think they could beat the team like the Rockets, who I think are flawed.
It's possible.
Fair assessment. Still on your own island, but
I was on my own island when I predicted the Tennessee Titans to go into New England to beat the Patriots in the playoffs last season too. So I accept the challenge.
That was wild. That made me happy.
We're going to take a look over here into the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the much weaker conference. Probably get through these very quickly. Bucks Magic.
Sorry, Johnny.
You know what? I'm going to go back to an earlier conversation. Suspend Giannis for the first round. The Bucks can handle the Magic on their own without him. They can take care of him.
I'm sorry. This is going to be an ass whipping. Woo! Man, I just see it right now. Get the paddle ball sets out. I mean,
the average margin of victory is going to be like 25 points. Although, the Magic were scoring more, but I just don't see them keeping up with Milwaukee. They might win a game by accident.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's what they did with the Toronto. They won a game like, oh, okay. And then Toronto.
Hey, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I
forgot that they won that game.
It was like a freaking cat playing with a ball. Oh, yeah. They go.
Was that like a DJ Augustine 3 or something like that? Was it like an old point guard? Yeah. Milwaukee's going to sweep the series.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even going to be close.
Yeah, I think this is unanimous here.
Yeah.
That's your championship.
Unless you got like a Ken Burch on the Magic, just, he has one job only. Get Giannis suspended.
Yeah. I just talk mad shit. Giannis is he's a ticking time bomb. Just get in his head. Just say some shit in freaking Greek or something. Just talk mad shit and just try to get him in trouble. Blow in his ear. Get Lance Stevenson. Give him a pole in his ear.
Not a bad idea.
Hey.
Yeah, Buck sweep is going to be bad.
Yeah, pretty
Sorry,
much.
Johnny. Next, the Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not going to say a word. You guys already know how I feel. Nets in 6.
Yo, Jake, can't feel what Jake's laughing about.
All right, I'll take this one. Ooh. Lord Jesus, help the Nets. I love Karis LeVert. Leon, you know that's my boy. But damn, you got to be AI/Kobe. I mean, you got to be just on some next level. You need to freaking inject KD into you or something, because the Nets, I'll give them a game. I will be nice and give them one game. But then your asses better just get ready for Kyrie and Katie to come back. Then y'all can kick ass next year, because it ain't happening this year. I mean, you know very well. I'm going to take a line. You know very well who you are, and it ain't going nowhere this year.
Leon, I'll just say you have brighter days ahead, and at least you know that you have the two guys in the wings waiting to make your 2021 a little bit brighter for you. But you're probably going to get swept in the series. And I don't even think you should be ashamed of that. I think this is all circumstantial. So ultimately, it's unfortunate for Nets fans, but at the same time, the Nets have two superstars waiting for the next season.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the way they played so far in the bubble, Chioza and LeVert and Allen, it's really just, like I say before, coaching tryout for Vaughn and really LeVert to show that he is that third star. I mean, not to blow up the team. And I've liked what I've seen so far from Jared Allen. He's showing some toughness. Real double-double, and Air Latvia, Rodions Kuruc, has played pretty well.
What did I tell you about calling that? We talk about this all the time. I heard that nickname on TV too. That's what pissed me off. I'm like, first of all, don't call him that again. He's not allowed. Until he averages over 10 points a game, you cannot call him that at all. I don't know, Ian Engel, he needs to shut his ass up too, because I think I was the first one I heard freaking say that. Don't say it again.
Hey, Iron Eagle's my guy. Leave Iron Eagle alone.
Man, that was saying shit like that. God, Latvia, man. What's next?
I mean, we can run down the list of the Nets nicknames, but I will spare you. Nets in 6. That's how we're going to finish that one out.
I think we talked too much about the Nets here.
I think we did. If the Nets win in 6, I'll put 100 in your Venmo. I'll tell you that right now.
Good thing we got this on tape.
Said that on live streaming Facebook page here on Ball is Life. So anyone want to hold Jacob accountable?
That's fine.
Hey, your time.
It happens, it happens.
Next matchup, the Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers down a man. I believe Embiid came back to play tonight. But the Celtics defense have been ramped up since they came back. Rob Williams, Tatum starting to take off. Jaylen Brown really gone to another level. I see the Celtics in 5. Embiid's going to quit in 3 games.
Yeah, no Ben Simmons. I really like Shake Milton, and I like Thibault a lot, but ultimately the Celtics have been playing really good. And Gordon Hayward's been playing better in the bubble, too. He has a great mustache. I think that might have helped his play just a little bit. But I imagine Boston's going to win this in 5 as well.
Yeah, I'll end that one, too. Yep, Celtics in 5. Nothing you can do, Philly. See you later. Thanks for coming. Take your ass home.
Maybe time for a new process over there in Philly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how long before they blow it up, right? I feel like this is kind of a failed experiment at this point.
I'll give Brett Brown one more year. He doesn't get it after this one, he might be done. Well, got to think, COVID, it did a lot. And as far as Simmons going down, you got to give him another year. But if he doesn't get it next year, he's done.
It's true.
And, I was real intrigued to see how Ben Simmons' 3-point shot improved. I mean, the form was never broken. He just never took the shot. And if he were to knock down a corner 3 every once in a while, it really would have helped him out. But knowing that he's out, figuring he's going to load up on Embiid and, Tobias Harris and Horford, I'm pretty sure regretted that he signed there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucks because now he really does not have a role on the team, and it's so bad.
What role did he have when they signed him, though? You already was he Embiid insurance? That's a lot of money for insurance.
I thought he was going to be the starting power forward.
With
That's what I thought.
Harris?
Yeah, because you got to think Embiid, Horford, Harris would be the 3. Ben was running the point regardless, and whoever they ran out at shooting guard.
That's a big starting lineup right there.
Mm-hmm. What's the defensively? They would have been okay. Yeah, it's just a wrap for them. So I think they'll be moving on.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Now we get to my favorite series of the Eastern Conference. Little backstory here. Everybody knows T.J. Warren. There's LeBron, there's MJ, and then there's Bubble T.J. Warren.
It's honestly, it's facts if you're only talking about the bubble world.
And what got this man started? Well, we're going to start it right here.
Yeah, buddy. It's another game I was watching. Jimmy was about to give him the fade on that one.
Yeah, hard foul. You could read lips.
Trash. SMD. Yeah, he was trash. As our boy Henry would say, SMD. If the kids are watching. It was wild. He's like, I'm tough. I'm tough. Come on. He's like, I'll catch you outside, man. This is great. This is all I love in me basketball. It's just stuff like this.
Yeah, my man Jimmy.
It's Jimmy Butler. That's the thing. Like Jimmy always has some stuff like this every year.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, he just, I don't think it was that serious, but he really looked like he was going to stall on him. So This was great.
Well, like Jimmy said the 3 words that will stop every game on a court.
Mm-hmm.
The old SMD montage, and that just shuts everything down.
Yeah, absolutely. You begging for something for saying that on the court. But this is gonna be wild. this you talk about just 2 teams that actually they play defense. They dig into each other. It's gonna get heated, and if T.J. Warren's gonna, man, I think what started him off that too in cash considerations. I think that's what keeps him going. Like, okay, maybe for cash, okay, I got you. But yeah, this is going to be a good series, man. If Oladipo can get up to the level we know he can play at, this is going 7. But right now, I'm gonna say Heat in 6. Yeah, I'll say 6. I think 6 is fair.
I actually don't love the Pacers have not had a nice run. T.J. Warren, I think, is still the leading scorer in the bubble. I think almost 40 points a game. I love the story. Get you trade for cash considerations. You use that as motivation. Totally relatable. I think that we all could, we can be inspired by that. We would totally use that as motivation as well. I don't know. I feel like I remember T.J. Warren coming out of North Carolina State and being a good scorer, being kind of highly touted when he came out. But I'm wearing this jersey today, and I have a number 3 for Dwayne Wade. Had this jersey for a very long time, which is besides the point. But Miami Heat are my team that I think are coming out of the Eastern Conference. I love the Heat, and maybe I overvalue Jimmy Butler, but I think that this team is so dangerous. And I don't think I know the Bucks are great, but the Bucks have yet to prove in the playoffs that they can do this. Toronto obviously are the defending champs, but a big piece of that is gone in Kawhi Leonard. So for me, looking at the Heat roster, looking at how they played this year and in the bubble, they're super confident, love their coach. I love their swagger, love Jimmy Butler's leadership. I love how they respond to that. I love Bam Adebayo. I love the shooters they have around them. Tyler Hero, the swagger he has, and love all of that. Miami Heat are going to win the series. I think they're going to win it kind of handily. I could see it going 6, but I'd be shocked if they went 7. I just think they're a way better basketball team than the Pacers are at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mentioned Jimmy Butler and his swag and what he brings to the team. You know, some people are just not on his level.
I don't gotta hear it to know he talking shit.
Yeah, I don't hear anything, but I can
You don't hear
imagine.
anything? Sorry about that. Well, more or less,
That dude is
Jimmy Butler said he's not on the same level. T.J. Warren is not on the same level as Jimmy Butler, and he showed that the other night as he shut him down with like 14 points.
And I want to point out, you know, the Heat's roster also very solid. I mean, you're talking Goran Dragic, Jay Crowder. I like Kyle Alexander a lot. Tyler Hero, as I said, Solomon Hill. They have Andre Iguodala, which I personally forgot about. Derek Jones with the dunk contest. Kendrick Nunn, Rookie of the Year candidate. I mean, he's been killing it all year. Still Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, Myers Leonard. This team is stacked. I really love how deep they are. I think they're going to be a big problem for everyone in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson, he was really killing them that game. I mean, he was pulling up from Steph Curry. I mean, he might get the line of all that he taught was jumpers. He keeps shooting like that. But, that dude, they definitely got a squad, and I don't think Indiana's going to be able to handle that one, especially with no. So Sabonis is out, isn't he? Or did he come back?
Yeah, no, Sabonis is out.
Okay, they're gonna be some.
Take a look at bubble T.J. Warren.
Oh, look, this guy's got to pull up. He's got to look at this shot. Look at this garbage. Come on. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
All over AD.
Come on.
I mean,
and then the 3. Oh yeah, the 3 that he
Euro
made
step,
to seal it was ridiculous.
These are some tough shots.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, come on. Like, that's just Kobe right there. Like, just maybe look at this 3. Look at this 3. Come on.
The dagger 3. I think he ended with 15 straight points at least.
Yeah, I watched the end of that game, and I just refused to believe that was T.J. Warren and not like a Hall of Famer. Like, he was making ridiculous shots.
Man, he was over there going.
I'm like, who is this guy? Like, the Lakers are famous for making scrubs like look really good and giving them career highs and stuff, but he's doing this to everybody.
Yeah,
like, he's doing it to the whole league.
You know what I like compare this to? You know the Seinfeld episode with Costanza and he goes without sex and he's like laser focused? This is bubble T.J. Warren. Once the guest comes in, you're going to see regular T.J. Warren.
I love the analogy. I think that's perfect.
This can't last. I don't see it.
All right, man. Maybe just until he gets a big contract, but let's enjoy this one.
Yeah, he's going to get a big contract, all right. Mentioned the personal guest. The bubble is closing up. Tomorrow is the last game, and the NBA has decided since you're no longer needed, you can shower and just leave. Teams exiting, people coming in. People coming in are family members and close guests not known through social media. Take that for how you want it. Let's just say those parties will no longer be solely attended by Dwight Howard.
So Lou Williams, like the friends he makes when he goes to get chicken wings, like he can't bring them in.
Well, if they're close friends, they're really close, they can bring them in.
I think it's considered good because it's a known prior relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that stripper at the place he can bring in?
Now, here's where it may get a little tricky. Remember that snitch hotline everybody was talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of calls made to some people. I don't think they knew each other beforehand.
They gonna know now.
Yeah.
I feel like the consensus on that line is like, we're not snitches. Like, we're not saying nothing because we're all doing the same thing. I feel like a lot of them understand. Like, I'm not gonna say nothing. You're not gonna say nothing. Like, that's like everyone's kind of hush hush. Although I could see like Dwight Howard being like, "Oh, I saw that guy doing this," but I mean, D'Angelo Russell's not in the bubble, so we don't got to worry about anyone snitching. So I think everyone understands. Like, you don't say anything, I'm not gonna say anything.
But yeah, guests coming in, teams leaving. Zion looked he was done before, and I think that's what did the Pelicans, and they didn't play him the first game, and that pretty much sealed their fate.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing was designed for the Pelicans to make the playoffs. They didn't do anything.
That and Lonzo Ball averaging like 5 points a game.
Yeah, he's been bad.
Yeah, I guess
bad.
that jump shot didn't work. That new found jump shot.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad. We'll give out some awards. Who's been your bubble MVP?
Woo. Devin, fucking Booker. More with less. And that got, man, when you hit the game winning jump over PG and Kawhi, man, he just, it's like he knew it was going, he laying. Yeah, I did it. Mm-hmm. But the Suns, come on now. You can't, I love Dame. Dame's second, but if you would have said the Suns were going 7-0, I would have called you a damn lie. And, man, I got to go to Booker. You're averaging, 34 a game, ice cold from the line. I mean, in a good way, 94%. I think he's shooting 50% from the field, and the way he shoots at that clip, 50% is crazy. And, man, he sealed it up for me.
I'm having a hard time trying to decide who I think that should win this because it's a 3-person race to me. Mm-hmm. And when you decide on MVP, almost never is it someone who missed the playoffs unless it's baseball and it's Mike Trout. But it's between TJ Warren, Devin Booker, and Dame Lillard to me. And just because of the unexpectedness, I think so highly of Dame Lillard, and the potential for Devin Booker was always there, that the unexpectedness of TJ Warren to me is going to get him the vote for me. And he's on a playoff team, and he helped them get to the seat that they're in now. So for me, I think all of us would think way less of the Pacers in general if it wasn't for TJ Warren's run here in the playoffs. Dame, I expect that from. Devin Booker, we always knew he was capable. For me, I'm going to go TJ Warren just based on that.
Pretty good. I'm just gonna go right out and say I'm gonna give it to Lillard. He came in on a mission, 50 and 60. He can just really top it off tomorrow with a win. Came in with a purpose. This was his goal. He said he didn't want to show up unless he had a chance, and he's a guy who's backed up his word. TJ Warren's been nice. Michael Porter Jr. has been good. Mm-hmm. And Booker, I mean, it's hard to argue Booker, but Lillard, I think coming from the outside in to get to that 8th spot and really seal his fate, I would give him the bubble MVP.
We didn't plan this, by the way. We all picked someone different. We didn't even plan that.
Man, that's pretty good.
Well done.
Go really fast. With the awards throughout the league, the finals has been made. And the awards are handed out from the end, more or less from the start of the pandemic. MVP finalists Harden, Giannis, and LeBron.
Mm-hmm. That guy, LeBron.
That guy. Yeah, how could I forget? Let's start with you, Randy. Who you got for MVP?
I got the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He averages 30 points, almost 15 rebounds. I think 6 assists a game. The Bucks have the best record in the sport by far. You take him off of the Bucks, it's still okay, but obviously the difference he makes is insane, is palpable for sure. And he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, so I think what he does on both sides of the ball means so much to the Bucks. So I'm giving it to Giannis. He's gonna win it for the second straight year.
I'm gonna go with LeBron James because
Wow.
he's almost averaging a triple-double. Like at his age, still playing at a high level, playmaker on the team. He's definitely a way better playmaker than Giannis. I mean, his offensive game well-rounded still. The defense is, I won't say it's slacking. That happens when you get old, but yeah, you got Anthony Davis, but you take him out, same thing. You take him out the Lakers, how good would they be? You pretty much have the Pelicans all over again if LeBron's not there. And I'm giving it to LeBron for number 5. Shake the room.
And I just want to point out, Leon, real quick, that MVP voters are very narrative driven, and we saw Ramona Shelburne earlier today say the only reason that she's voting for LeBron is that she is a narrative based voter. What that means is that based on storylines is why that they vote for MVP, not based on overall body of work. So obviously we've talked a lot about this, but the impact of this man over here leaving us it meant a lot to the Lakers and the fan base in the city and everything in the basketball world. So the fact that the Lakers are a 1 seed the first time that they made the playoffs in 5 years, I think, big man Kobe leaving us has a lot to do with that. So I would not be surprised if LeBron gets the vote because of that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think I give it to Giannis this year. I thought it should have been Harden last year. But, best team in the East, two-way player. I mean, it's amazing that he was able to raise his game from an MVP year. So, I mean, it's not a great three-point shot, but it's enough to, not Ben Simmons-like.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's getting better.
Yeah.
So if he can,
sure.
like LeBron's 3 has gotten better over the years too. So if he continues to do that, he will continue to sustain his level of success.
Yeah, I got Giannis for MVP here. You guys have for 6 man, the finalists were Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, and Dennis Schroeder.
I got Harrell. It was this right here with Lou Will because I'm like, oh, you can give it to him again, but Harrell has been that guy for them. I'm talking about he is pretty much the toughest player on the team. He bodies bigger men than, him. He does a lot with his length. He leads that second unit. He's having a career year as well. 18 points a game. I don't think he's in double-digit rebounds.
I think he is. I think he's 18 and 10.
Is he 18 and 10? And there you go,
so.
right there. And the guy just does so much. I mean, he really deserves it. Plus, this guy wasn't even averaging. Well, he just improved every single year. And I will say this is the pinnacle. I'll give him the 6 man. It was tough.
I don't remember the last time that 6 man of the year candidates, there was 2 of them on the same team. I don't remember.
I don't remember it either, yeah.
So that to me just disqualifies both of them because they benefit from playing with each other a lot. So I'm going to give it to Schroeder just based on that. Schroeder comes in and gives Oklahoma City 20 points a game, and God knows they need it because they're not the most talented roster ever. And he's also a guy who's gotten better since he's played, in Atlanta and came over to OKC. So I'm just going to give it to Schroeder just based on the fact that he's the only guy on his team representing his team. Unfortunately for the Clippers, they are, for me, I should say, the Clippers are stacked. They have 2 guys and a candidate that's a solo award. So they're disqualified for that for me.
Schroeder time.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Schroeder here as well. I was a fan of him back in Atlanta. And like you say, he's a huge part of what they do in OKC. He's like 6 man playing starters minutes. I thought Dragic got short end of the stick, but with the Clippers, it's hard to argue that record. But no, I'm going to go with Schroeder here. And next up, we got the Most Improved Player Award: Luka, Brandon Ingram, and
Bam Adebayo.
Yeah,
Bam Adebayo. There you go. Yeah.
This was tough. because my bias almost came out. I wanted to say Brandon Ingram so bad. I did, because I watched this kid go from just not knowing where he was on the team to one of the best scorers in the league. But this is a different case. I'm going to give it to Luka, because you've seen him go from all-star to superstar. And you don't see that too much. And what he's doing, like, how many triple-doubles does he have this year? I just
20-something.
At least. I mean, you can't deny that. And what he means to Dallas, like I said, it was tough because I really wanted to give it to Ingram, but what Luka's doing, you got to give it to him. I mean, when you take it to another level like he has, you can't go against it.
I will shout out Luka because what he said when he was announced a finalist for this award said that he should get his name taken off and give it to Brandon Clark of the Hornets. Monte Graham, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Luka. I think he understands, like, that guy averaged like single-digit points, raised his games, averaged 16 or so. So Luka, to me, it's a tough one because he already, I think, was established as an elite player in the league. So, yes, he did get better, but I'm looking at the leap from, good player to great player. I think Luka already was a great player. So I am going to go Brandon Ingram for that reason. Where Brandon Ingram on the Lakers was always like, he has potential to be an elite scorer in the league, but he's not there yet. I think he's there now. Absolutely. And he's going to be a big reason for the Pelicans' success going forward, especially with a young team in Zion. And I don't know if Ball will ever put it together, but Ingram is going to be just as much as important as that team's future as Zion is, and it's because of his offensive skill set. So I'm going to go Brandon Ingram. Maybe that's my Laker bias coming out because I always like the guy, but I'm going to go BI.
I'm going to go with Randy here and go Ingram because in the beginning of the season, he was arguably the best player in the league. And he held that Pelican team down until Zion came back. Suffered an injury, really got set back.
Mm-hmm.
But and to Jacob's point, going from all-star to superstar MVP type level, it's really hard to ignore. And I do acknowledge the fact that yes, Devontae Graham really could have been on this list because he put the Hornets.
Yeah, they victory on that one.
My pick. My pick here is Ingram. Really expanded his game, put in the clutch factor, and showed that why he was a top 10 pick.
Well, I just have to say it. Leon Tompkins, UNC fan, actually giving somebody from Duke credit. Fred Sanford's coming right now, man. Woo.
That's two of us.
Woo.
That's two of us.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you. I can't believe it, man. This is must-see freaking podcast right now, man. This never happens because I'm going to hate y'all motherfuckers next
All
year.
I'm going to say is it's about damn time there's a Duke player worth a damn in the sport.
Whoa. We got Kyrie. We got Brandon. They're getting there.
J.J. Redick had a good career.
You damn right. He almost 20 years ago into the playoffs? Come on now.
Yeah. Too bad Alvin Gentry's going to probably get fired from this.
Yeah. That does suck, man. They're young. They're too young, man. They almost made the playoffs. You can't fire that guy. He obviously had them playing. I mean, they had him playing hard, but yeah,
I feel like I'm with you on the same Brett Brown situation here. I think you might give him another shot because of the circumstances. I think there's a lot of things that he couldn't control, including Zion's health, that maybe you give him a year with Zion and the young roster and see what he does.
Let him lose some weight, too.
Yeah,
keep him away from the gumbo.
Sure.
Yeah, my man has to make it up and down the floor. It's just embarrassing to be asking to come out after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis, Giannis, and who was the third guy? I forgot.
Rudy.
Yeah, the one that started.
Rudy Gobert.
Nasty.
I have a guy on Twitter who gave him the greatest nickname ever, and it's Escargot Hibbert. So every time I see his name, I just think of a French Hibbert, and it's the greatest nickname for him. So shout out to my guy Tobias on Twitter for giving him that name.
But yeah,
I think we lost Jake here.
I'm good. I'm here. I gotta go with Giannis. You know, give him his first defensive player of the year. He can play D on all 5 positions. And you know, his athleticism, just everything there. You can't really get around him. His footwork is, I mean, from year 1 to now, unbelievable. And I think, yeah, I got to give him his first. He definitely deserves it.
This is my turn to be biased here because I'm going Anthony Davis. I look at the Lakers, and when Anthony Davis is not on the floor, they are still decent in the front court with rebounding and protecting the rim. But what Anthony Davis does, like, they ask him to defend perimeter players.
Mm-hmm.
The way he defends the screen and roll is unlike anything the Lakers have had in a very long time, if ever. I mean, he is elite at that. Like, he makes that look so easy, and it's one of the more complex things that, you know, coaches try to teach how to defend. He's just so good at awareness, his positioning, and he stays in front of guards that he's so much bigger than on a regular basis. So, you know, LeBron doesn't have that sort of defensive tenacity anymore. The backcourt defense for the Lakers, their guard play, not the greatest thing in the world. Anthony Davis cleans up a lot of their issues on the defensive side of the ball. They rely on him to do that, and I think he accepted that role, and he's always been a great defensive player, and I think now he's going to get recognized for it. So I'm going to go Anthony Davis here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Randy again. North Carolina alum, not alum, but, you know, compadre. But, you know, he's right. That team is totally different when AD is not on the floor. Matter of fact, I think it's AD's team.
Mm.
I agree with you.
So, and he's been a defensive wizard his entire career. It's just the fact of a matter of staying healthy, and he's more or less stayed healthy for a good portion of a year. I think it's time to award him with the Defensive Player of the Year.
I see it happening.
Yeah.
Coach of the Year, Budenholzer, Donovan, and Nick Nurse.
Yep, Nick Nurse.
You guys got there.
I'm going with Nurse. I there's no way anybody else deserves to win this. Second in the East. You lose Kawhi. You just plug in, like, basically Siakam. That's the star of your team. He has put this team together. It's amazing. Like, that's honestly, like, Donovan, yeah, I give you that, but you can't with Van Vliet. Like, it's the same team without Kawhi. That's big for me. And they play an exceptional amount of team basketball. Don't shake your head at me. But anyway, they do, man. What can you do?
No, they do. Yeah, I mean, you understand. Aaron was on last week. We were trying to, you know, kissing up to Aaron. I get it.
No, fuck all that. He just deserved it. He definitely deserves it in my eyes, man. It's just coaches like that, you expect them to just fall. Because when you lose somebody like that, how many teams can lose a superstar? Well, besides Oklahoma City, you lose superstars and still be that good. And they're at the top of the East pretty much if it wasn't for the Bucks. So, I mean, that means a lot.
My knock on Nick Nurse is kind of unfair, but it is strictly because they play in the Eastern Conference, where the playoff teams at the back end are pretty bad, and you play these awful teams from time to time, like your Knicks, and you get kind of breaks from here and like from time to time. And I totally get what you're saying when you lose a guy like Kawhi Leonard who led you to a championship and meant so much to that city. But I also think that gives a coach confidence. I think that Nick Nurse probably understood his ability and really had a good grasp of his team at that point. So he understood how to use his guys. Mm-hmm. So when you win a title, everything changes for everyone involved, basically. So for me, I'm going to go with Billy Donovan because in the Western Conference, you have almost not a complete overhaul, but your roster is not considered one of the best rosters in the league. But yet you're here as a 5 seed in the West, which is super competitive, has like we already talked about, 10 potential you have 10 teams worthy of a playoff spot. and it's your only elite player is Chris Paul, who is pretty old now. But you got everyone to buy into what you wanted to do, and it's kind of like it kind of says a lot about Russell Westbrook because it's the same team just flipped with Chris Paul, but they play better team basketball. So to me, that matters a lot, and I'm going to go Billy Donovan for getting that entire roster to buy in.
Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. Billy Donovan.
Me and Leon sharing a brain here at the
Yeah, I'm just going to echo the same sentiments as Randy here. You know, and it's hard to think that a college coach could translate well into the NBA because many have failed, but Donovan has done well buying in, and most college coaches fail trying to put in their system and thinking that it's college all over again. You can't treat these NBA superstars the same. And to his credit, you know, he took it's not a bad roster, but it's not the star-studded roster, you know, with 5-star recruits. Yeah. And he's done a phenomenal job with them. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Randy here, give it to Donovan. And, you know, we'll finish this up with Rookie of the Year between Ja, Zion, and it doesn't even matter who the third guy is.
Doesn't matter.
Kendrick Nunn.
Doesn't matter. See you later. I don't care. My Duke bias is coming up. No, I'm kidding. It's John Morant. It's John Morant on this one. No, absolutely not. They give it to Zion. I'm going to kick all those freaking voters in the nuts. John Morant, I mean, you talking about doing everything for your squad and being that guy. He came in exactly what he did at Murray State. That's all but pretty much, Ja, he took Triple J's game to another level. Everybody, you know, rallied around him. It sucks that they're, you know, fading right now, but Ja is everything to that team. And he's a perfect fit for kind of bringing that new grit and grind to that city. And he deserves it. There's no. Zion, I'm sorry. He didn't play enough for me. No, you don't deserve it. Sorry.
You got me on the pump fake there, Jake. Because you ever see that clip of Melo when he's sitting courtside with the hoodie on and he grabs the ball and he's about to shoot, and then he fakes it and he just hands it off and everyone's all mad that he didn't shoot? Like that was just what just happened with you. I thought for sure you were pulling the trigger on that one.
No, I can't do it.
I don't know how it's not unanimously John Morant. I never really, even when the Grizzlies were good, said, "Hey, I want to check out the Grizzlies tonight." You know, like I never ever said that, and now like I want to go see what Ja's gonna do. He's so exciting, and to me like that has so much value and how much he helps the teammates around him get better. And like we talked about earlier, the fact that they're even in contention for the playoffs says everything. He is a superstar in the making. Zion, maybe if he played a full season, we'd be talking about him as a Rookie of the Year, but limited action really hurts him here. So I think, I mean, I'd be shocked if anyone got any votes besides John Morant.
Yeah, I'd go with John Morant as well, unless you feel into that narrative storyline with Zion and, you know, it's Wade and whatnot. But I cannot see any instance where Ja doesn't get the award. You know, coming pretty close to the end of the show. I could show some love to the ladies. You know, they really balled out this week. The Aces have been on fire. Seattle Storm, best team in the league at 7-1. You know, Breanna Stewart's really showing out her MVP form. But my girl of the week is Aja Wilson from the Aces. They're 6-2. She had a game winner in the game against the Liberty, and the Liberty have been playing, you know, decent ball as of late. Suffered a pretty tough loss last night to the Sparks. Candace Parker leads the league in double-doubles, but you know, Liberty's showing some growth, although they're at 1-7.
Yeah, it's tough to watch, but they'll get there.
Yeah.
My girl Candace Parker still holding it down.
Oh, absolutely.
Still got a smooth jumper, man. I love that shot.
Absolutely. say, yeah, that's definitely my girl of the week. You know I like Audra. You know that's my girl, but I'm gonna go with Kelsey Mitchell, as you call it, a walking bucket. I mean, she's been dropping them. I mean, she's averaging. I think she's over. I'm pretty sure she's over 28 games for this past week. So I'm definitely gonna give it to her. Shout out to Brittany Griner for becoming 43rd on the WNBA scoring list. You know, I love how she got herself together from the little situation she had, and I want to see if the GOAT, Diana, her, and Skylar can bring it home. That's going to be real interesting. But again, like you said, shout out to the ladies. They're doing their things. They got game 2. Keep on watching, keep supporting them because they need everyone's support.
Yeah, man. Also, sucks. Kennedy Carter out for 2 weeks. Suffered an ankle sprain. Many compared her to AI, and you could see a quick first step. Had a career high the other night in 35. So hopefully she can come back before the playoffs start. But I was a big fan of Kennedy Carter.
Absolutely.
Randy, Football Life presents the Audible. You guys had a great show last night. Big fan of you and Matt over there in Football Life. If you guys haven't checked it out, come on over to Football Life. You can, again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Life Group Podcast. Find the Audible. You can catch us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple. These guys are amazing. Football season coming up. Randy, what you got for us coming up on the Audible?
Well, first, I appreciate the plug. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock and over in Football Life, we have the Audible with me and Matt Bushnell. We finished up our divisional previews last week with the NFC West. This week we had a lot of COVID talk. It's kind of, beating the drum, but it's a lot going on in the world right now. If you haven't got the chance to check out the episode yesterday, we previewed Hard Knocks, which aired last night. If you haven't got the chance to watch Hard Knocks, we're going to kind of talk a lot about the season because it's a super interesting season, and they are going through both Los Angeles teams, the Rams and the Chargers. They have a brand new stadium. They have they're kind of doing this social distancing type spring training, which I don't know how that even works, but it's the most interesting Hard Knocks season ever because of all of that. So I'm super interested to see what happens there. We're going to have a fantasy show coming up here. So if you guys play fantasy football, you're going to want to check that out. I'm trying to get Matt to do a live mock draft with me to see, get our thought processes for that. If you guys play, I take it very seriously. I'm in like 8 leagues. It's a little too much, but at the same time, I love it. All I ask is everyone just kind of pray for football season at this point because college football is not looking too great right now. So I know the NFL is going to try. The least we can do is pray and hope that we can get sports because I love watching baseball right now. I love watching the NBA right now. Hockey's doing their thing right now too. So I'm hoping that we can get our football fixed. Ball is right around the corner. Less than a month till kickoff. I'm hoping we get football. So I appreciate the plug. I appreciate you guys letting me come on here. I've had a blast. I love getting the chance to come on here and talk basketball with you guys. And I love watching the NBA right now. I love what they're doing. I can't wait to watch the playoffs and see how it shakes out.
Absolutely. Leon, don't ever make that face again. The Rangers got the first pick, so we hyped. We hyped. Alexis coming to New York.
Hey, Alexi.
There we go. Excuse me. Girl's name anyway.
I'm sorry. I love you guys on the Audible and you're a jack of all trades and whatnot. But me and hockey so far have a long-standing history of me trashing it, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I gave you that face, but
that's all right. We can go back and talk about football if you want.
You guys are great. Catch Pod Jobbers over in Wrestling Life tomorrow night, Thursday nights, 8 o'clock over in Wrestling Life. If you're not a member, come on in. You can catch Randy here, Jack of all trades on Audible. Tuesday nights, Dong City, Vince and Henry, the Godfathers over in Baseball Life. Monday nights, 7 o'clock.
About the lab too.
Don't forget the lab. They come on before us at 7. Wednesday nights over in Food Life. My man Johnny, where we trashed his magic earlier, made a terrific stir fry. His stir fry was pretty good. I'm going to catch some of that later. Close this out. Jacob, you got any words for our audience here?
Just thank you for tuning in, whoever did. I mean, just keep tuning in. We all do this for you guys. We do it because we love it. We love sports. That's what it's all about. Randy, thank you for coming on. You know, your new
My
nickname
pleasure.
for me is Randy. There's a sheriff in town, Hammond. Yeah, that's
Oh,
every time you come on now. Y'all be cool. But
yo, I want no problems.
but it's definitely been fun. Thank you again for coming on. Leon, you do a great job hosting this. I'm just happy to go along for the ride and help when I can. Let's take it home.
Thank you again, Randy. Thank you again, Jacob. Thank you, guys, for tuning in, listening. Catch us again next Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Same group, same time, same network. And until next time, guys, ball out.
R.I.P. Kobe.
Sir.